with our marvelous animal inspector, state inspector, Rebecca, who's come by to tell us the new rules, things that people in the town should be aware of. And quite honestly, as far as I'm concerned, she's the best in the state.
Thank
You're
you.
entirely welcome. So actually, this meeting is just a quorum with Rebecca. So, okay, Rebecca, tell us the news.
Well, basically, I just wanted to get it out there for anybody that's watching that I got my barn inspection books, and I will also be doing kennel inspections. So anyone that I have done my inspections with and you know what my routine is, just give my office a call, 508-998-0200, extension 4310. You can make an appointment with me, or I will be contacting you and starting the barn inspections and also kennel inspections. If anyone has any questions, or if anyone's animals are sick that they know about, if they have any upper respiratory, give me a call ahead of time, because if I do appear at a farm and your animals are sick, that's my last inspection of the day. I usually wear booties for sanitation purposes so that I'm not transmitting any diseases from one property to another. And if anyone has any newborn babies that might be a little, have an upper respiratory, again, I would like to hold off type of thing. And as far as the kennel inspections, give my office a call, or I will just be giving you a call and reaching out to you. And they do have, on another note, there are new laws from our rabies. It's already been 2 years that there is no longer a 6-month quarantine. They've moved that down to 4 months if your animal is under a quarantine because of a bite or a wound of unknown origin. So instead of your animal being quarantined for 6 months, it will be 4.
That's good.
And that is for domestic animals. It's cat, dog, ferret.
No.
So it's not mandatory for other animals, but it is under the state law that your cat, dog, and ferret have to have a rabies vaccine. And if your animal is current and has a 1-year vaccine, if you take that paperwork of the vaccination to your veterinarian or to Petco or to Pet Supplies or Tractor Supply, and they are still current, they will give them a 3-year vaccine, which is good for the animal, instead of inoculating them and over-inoculating them. They will have the virus, they'll have the antibodies, and they'll be all set. And also, on another note, I know this doesn't have anything to do with the Ag Commission, but our dog licenses for 2020 are going to be available. We usually start we have people coming in so that they can prepay in mid-December.
Okay.
And if the licenses are not available yet, once we get them, we will mail them out to you.
Okay.
So that you don't have to pay any late fees to the town clerk's office, which is $15 per dog that's not licensed. You have until March 31st, but a lot of people forget it. They forget about it. So I tell people, put it in your calendars, put it in your phone. When you come in to pay your excise tax, you still have plenty of time. Because if you don't, again, the violations have gone up per the state. So per dog, if your dog is not licensed, it's $50 per dog. That's in addition to a $10 if your animal is spayed or neutered to license your dog. And if they're not spayed or neutered, it's $15.
Wow.
We also have kennel licenses, which help out. You have to have 4 or more dogs. And so that you don't have to pay any additional fees, the $15 late fee from the town clerk's office, and for each dog, a $50 citation. That's a lot of money for one dog. Never mind if you have multi-dogs.
Right.
And also, the failure to vaccinate against rabies is $100. That went up from $50 to $100.
Wow.
So vaccinate your animals. It's the state law. Get them licensed. It's the state law. And you will pay one fee and one fee only, and you will not have Rebecca knocking on your door to get you to license your dog. So I'm hoping that our viewers are seeing this, and just if you have any questions, just feel free to give me a call. I'm there to help you if you have any questions that you're uncertain of animals, how they should be taken care of, what type of shelter you should have. Call me. We also have, the state also implemented new tethering laws. So if anybody is out there and they see that a regular dog is out there on property and to them, in their eyes, they don't think that it's properly tethered, give me a call. The cold months are coming. We want to make sure that the dogs have a dog house to go in. Same thing with your farm animals. You want to make sure that they have proper shelter and that they have water and, where they're staying, it's basically dry, sanitary, and that's basically it. It's a lot of common sense. I don't want anybody to be afraid to contact me. If you have any questions, I would be more than honored to be the first one to know rather than somebody going over me and calling the Boston Animal Rescue League or the MSPCA and having them come into the town when you could have easily contacted me. And if we need outside help to help you manage something, that's what we're here for. I don't want people to, I don't want her to know. We just had a dog that the people just moved here 2 weeks ago, and her dog got loose, and somebody saw my truck up at my office and they brought the dog to me, and luckily she was out looking for her dog. There's still another one that's out there loose, so if anybody is viewing this tonight and they see a small dog that's gray, black, and white in the town hall area, please by all means give my office a call. So, that's what we're here for, is to help people out. We're not here to just penalize and...
It's like one of my cats years ago, I don't know if you still remember, that escaped from the house, and then it took you a month before you found her.
Yeah, and that's the thing with cats. People will call me a week after they've been out of the house because cats are hunters. People will call me and give me day-to-day, point-to-point view about my dog was seen here, because they're not. Cats can... They survive. They will find a place to go. Dogs,
different.
And I'm just so worried that they're going to get hit by a car. Not that cats don't. Unfortunately, they do. And, and they say it's a proven fact that cats that live in the house live a lot longer than cats that are able to roam, especially in the center of town.
Right.
It's one thing if they're a barn cat, because once they find out the person that's feeding them, they stay with them. But if they're in heavy traffic and if they're not neutered and spayed,
Right.
and that's when we run into the problems of having an overpopulation. I work very closely with the Habitat for Cats, and a lot of times with their spay-neuter program, if there are some cats that we take from a colony, if they're not able to be socialized and rehomed, this is the time of year that I'm at my farmers doing my inspections, and if they need some cats to help at the farm, at least they have a second chance.
Right.
And they come totally vetted. They have, they've had blood work done, they're neutered, they're spayed, so we're stopping the overpopulation of cats.
Right.
And they're doing the job. They've got a job, and they don't have to be euthanized. And for the ones that we do get from colonies, if they're young enough, and there are some older ones that we can get and we can rehome, but a lot of times
They can.
So our program is, once they've been vetted and they've been spayed and neutered, I will take them to a farm that is willing to take care of them. And I supply the cages, and they feed them. They keep them in the cages, sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks, and they feed them. And hopefully after that period of time, once they open up that cage, the animal will not leave. The cat will not leave. They'll stay around the farm. They're familiar with the surroundings because they know the hand that fed them. So it's a new it's not a new program. It's been here, but I'm grateful to my farmers that they open up their doors for me to be able to rehome a cat that will have that second chance, because otherwise if they don't, but like I said, they're adoptable. We've got a project starting up. We're going to start trapping this week. They're about 4-month-old kittens, and there's 6 of them and the mom. I don't know if the mom will be able to be rehomed. If not, a lot of times we ask the resident that we're doing this at, if they take care of them, they can go back there, because again, they're not multiplying.
Right.
So it's just feeding that one cat. A lot of times, unfortunately, do cats get dropped off? They do, and then we start the cycle all over again. It's, spay and neuter your animals, be responsible, and if for some reason you cannot keep them, take them to a shelter while they are still being socialized. If you know that for some reason you can't take care of an animal anymore, call animal control, call the shelter. That's what we're here for.
What about strays?
Well, that's the TNR program.
okay.
That's the TNR program. It stands for trap, neuter, and release. So if we know that there's a colony, we can go out there and we can do that. And if they're young enough, or if they're social enough, 9 out of 10 times they will be able to be adopted. If not, then I have to reach out to my farmers, and then they're like, "Oh, here she comes again. She needs us to keep an animal over here." But it helps them, and it
Feel
helps.
nice
It
stuff.
helps
Yeah.
exactly, and it
Yeah.
helps the cats.
Yeah.
And most of them, I had probably one in the past 4 years that did not come back. He took off, and so be it.
Yeah.
But if you have a Tom that is just relentless and he scares all of the other cats away, then we have a problem. If we can get a hold of him and get him neutered, he can have a second chance. And like I said, he's got a rabies vaccine. He'll get, he'll be neutered, he'll be spayed. They do blood work on them. They ear chip the left ear, and that shows the people that they have been spayed or neutered.
Yeah.
And again, it cuts back on the multiplication, and that is the whole. But again, it's a vicious circle. So many years, things will be quiet, and then it will, be on the rise again.
Are we on the downside on
The triple E.
And yeah.
We're still waiting for the first hard frost. I haven't heard of any cases. We were, as you know, we were in critical. We did have a resident in town that his farm animal did pass away, had all the symptoms. Do I believe that animal had triple E? I do. But the state was shorthanded, they couldn't send anybody down, and I didn't feel that it was the farmer's responsibility to take that animal and pay to have his vet come down, because they have to do
What type of animal was it? A horse?
it was an alpaca.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
By
yeah.
heavens.
It's, it had all the symptoms, and I talked to the state officials, they were aware of it, but because we were already in critical, there wasn't anything. It's not as though it's transmitted from animal to animal. It's the mosquito that transmits it, and that's what you have to be careful of.
What are some of the symptoms?
It was nauseousness. It was a headache, fatigue. So it's very scary, and they say that it comes in a 2-year cycle.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times, the other, feeling like you had a cold coming on. But because this was the first year, next year I am assuming it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
My phone, as well as the Board of Health phone, I'm sure was ringing off the hook because people were concerned, because they found dead birds, but the state wasn't testing anything, so they already knew we were in critical.
Yeah,
so I just had to tell people to just more or less assume that animal had just triple bag it. As long as you're not handling it, even if you were, you're not getting it from the deceased animal. It's
Right.
the mosquito that is the carrier. They are the vector. And it's not every mosquito. There's only a certain, it's hard to tell. I got bit this past summer, and I was very concerned about it, because there's an incubation period from 3 days to 3 to 4 weeks. So it's not as though when you come down with Lyme disease or one of the tick-borne diseases, they can do some blood work on you and find out there's a time, there's an incubation period. So you just have to be cautious, wear your, DEET or whatever other type of spray that you want to, repellent that you want to wear to try to keep them out. Make sure there's no standing water in any of your properties with tires, pails, buckets, and just be cautious when
What
it
about fish ponds?
you have that's if you don't have a circulator in there, that's considered standing water. So if you see them, and I know a lot of people are
So
concerned.
even if you have a circulator, it's still
it's not moving. It's not a moving water, so you have to be careful. So you have to take the precautions. But again, it's if when it becomes dusk, or if it's early in the morning, don't go out there, because even if you're wearing, I know that a lot of people have said that when they had their spray on, they didn't have any mosquitoes around them, and they had the aerial spraying, and they also, you can get your property sprayed also by a professional. They use a lot of the natural. I've done that, and it made an incredible difference around my property. But it's just a matter of common sense. And now they just recently, over the last 2 weeks, started talking about the West Nile virus, and I believe there were 3 people.
Yeah, I was going to say, nobody said anything about that.
Yeah, there was 3 cases. They were 2 elderly men, and it's scary, and you just have, it's amazing what diseases these mosquitoes can
Now, West
carry.
Nile is different in which way than
West Nile mostly I know that it's been effective with the horses and such, but a lot of the symptoms are pretty much the same.
the same.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same, and and you just, what's scary about it is somebody could have diseases and it could be dormant in them. So they may not see it. You may not see any neurological effects or any, a slight headache. Everybody's,
think it's just a headache.
you might think it's just a headache. I know that the gentleman in Rochester, he was going through rehab. So there were a few people that have come out of it, and they were very fortunate. But again, are there
Probably if it's at an early stage.
Not that-
are there after
Yeah, it
effects
depends on when they
afterwards
get
throughout
it.
life? You don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Lyme disease, after you have the...
That's the whole thing with Lyme disease in both animals and in humans. If you don't catch it right away, once it gets to that step where it's going to affect your organs, at that point, that's when it's very serious.
That's what it's in.
I just found out that there was a person that was detected with 4 types of the tick diseases. I don't
4?
exactly know which ones it was,
Oh my
but there
goodness.
were 4 types. He's fighting it now, so it's
And they'll suffer the rest of their life.
and
Still
depending
have-
on which one it is, it's very serious. I mean, it's the same thing with the dogs when they come down with it. They have the antibiotics, but I'm finding that, and they help out tremendously, no doubt about it. But again, depending how far you are into the disease, how far it's traveled into your organs, that's when it affects you. There's a lot more, and that's why I say, try to keep your area as clean as possible, dry. When it gets very wet out there and we don't have a frost, that's when, as fast as the spraying is killing the adult mosquitoes, I believe it takes no time for the larvae to come out and be born and be adults, and then we've got the cycle starting all over again. So you just have to be so cautious.
Yeah, but you can't just lock yourself in the house.
No, you can't, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that a lot of communities were upping moving their
Sport
activities
times totally
from later in the
earlier.
evening to earlier in the day. I mean,
And a lot of cancellations.
they did have a lot of cancellations, and you're right, you can't live in a bottle.
No.
Absolutely, you just have to be very cautious of it. So you have to be cautious of your animals, your children, yourself, and I would think also if you have any diseases, like if you have a very bad immune disease, immune system, then you would take a little bit more caution. This was just a really bad year, and we did have a lot of birds that were showing up. We had some squirrels, which isn't abnormal, but opossums, but people were automatically, whereas a year ago would not have thought a thing about it, but they started
now
thinking, they
they're
got
saying,
elevated,
yeah.
they were thinking about it. It was all over the news every day, every hour of the day. You're hearing it here, you're hearing it there. And that's what really scared people.
Yeah.
So it's good to be obviously knowledgeable of it,
Yes.
but you can't live
Can't-
inside of a
can't
glass
go
bottle.
panic.
No, you can't. And it's just
What kind of animals eat the mosquitoes? Like the frogs?
the bats do, as well as the
Birds, guinea hens.
the guinea hens. Thank you. Yes, the guinea hens. A lot of people got a lot of guinea hens over the last few years
They're the
because
craziest doggone
they,
thing.
they are. And then the bats.
Chickens will do it.
They will. Yep.
I see-
Chickens will
I
do
don't
it.
see too many bats. The only time I see bats is if somebody cleans the barn. Once in a while, you'll see a couple, but that's about
Or if
it.
there's a vacant building, they may have taken habitat in there. But I
They're
know a
very
lot of
secretive.
people
They're
over
very
the past few years that have gotten bat houses.
Bad houses.
Oh, wow.
And because it's amazing the amount of mosquitoes that they will eat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are ways, but again, you can go crazy just thinking about all these things.
Yeah.
But that's the newest, unfortunately. I've got an inspectors meeting coming up on the 30th, and we'll be discussing the Triple E, the West Nile virus, the new tethering laws, and then we have an inspectors meeting, which is going to be at Bristol Aggie, and they will be discussing the Triple E. Also, they will be discussing, what else was going to be on there? that was interesting. It's open to anyone, and, you know, but the inspectors go and anything, you know, so if there's something that you want me to ask the state, you can let me know, or you're more than willing to show up. It's going to be on the 30th at 7 o'clock at night at Bristol Ag.
October?
October 30th, yeah. And, you know, of course, they are very pro agricultural commissions. They, and I looked at the pamphlet that you gave me at the last meeting that unfortunately we didn't have. And it was some very interesting topics that I think are great if they, you know, do you know when they're going before the House?
I think they might have already gone.
You haven't heard anything?
No, I
yet?
haven't, one way or the other.
Okay.
The other thing too, aren't horse people required to have the horses inoculated for equine encephalitis? I know we were when I was a kid.
It's not a state law, but most horse owners do that.
Yeah, it's a volunteer.
Yeah, it's the only
And
thing.
then bolster, I think I used to get a booster one for them in August.
Yes,
Yeah.
but again, it's not required, it's not a state law that you
That's
have to
too
do it.
bad.
So, but I will say, most of my
Most
horse
horse
owners do,
people
you know, they do have
Yeah.
that.
Those animals are out, you know, you can't have them locked up all day.
Well, it's the same thing with the rabies. I mean, if I had a horse, I would make sure that my horse had a rabies vaccine
right.
because they're out in the fields, you don't know what is out there 24 hours a day. You don't know if a rabid skunk came into the barn at night.
Yeah.
So I would do that, and again, a lot of my residents, they do. And I've talked to some people that have had their sheep that have had it.
Oh, really?
They have, but again, if you're going to be obviously consuming them, you're not going to do the vaccine. But they have, but mostly the horses, that was, even though it's not mandatory by law.
Yeah.
Not yet anyways, I mean, every year something's changing, and thank God they're starting to have a lot more laws that can help us as town officials,
Yeah.
that we can have something that we can sink our
Teeth
enforcement
in,
into,
right.
and then at least if they go to look it up with Mass General laws, it's there. And so it's come a long way. We have a long way to go as far as penalties and such, but it's coming. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's a lot more law enforcement out there. Animals that, you know, are not just commodities, they're part of the family, and like I said, there are plenty of people that utilize their animals for, you know, the chickens for their eggs and the sheep.
I think that's one of the big things, even in Boston, they have as much as 6 chickens. I think chickens have become a household pet.
Well, they eat, so it's actually pretty good to have them in the yard.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking earlier before the meeting, you know, how many animals, my chickens definitely are the most that, and most of the count that people have. And it's because it's so simple to go out there, have the eggs, and you know where they're coming from, you know what you've been feeding them. It's just, you know, you read about E. coli and this disease and that disease, and, you know, this product has this disease that they came down with. You don't know what you're getting.
That's right.
You know?
And this area is so lucky too, because it has a lot of local farmers that raise things.
Well, that's it.
And, you know, buy local type of
Yeah.
thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's, we were talking about that before the meeting too. I mean, I would rather buy from my, you know, my orchards over here than go into the supermarket and buy, because you know how much caring they put into their
And pesticide.
Exactly. And, you know, this other, you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know who's handled it.
No, that's right.
So it's scary. So it's like you wash everything, but how do you know? You don't.
Agriculture now is becoming a pretty big commodity.
It is.
People who used to move away from the farm now have gone back to it, and gardening has become a recreation. and everything else,
Absolutely.
Which is good, it should.
Because again, you know what you're growing, you know what you
That's time
use.
consuming.
It is,
Yeah.
and especially, you know, having a garden, you have to deal with the opossums, you have to deal with the woodchucks, you
Do we
have
have
to
many
deal.
possums in town? Really?
Yeah, I just picked one up this morning.
Yeah.
They're pretty, they're kind
They're
of,
very secretive.
they will
Yeah.
play dead.
you know.
I've had some that were in barrels, and you go there and they look like they're dead. Tip
Yeah.
the barrel over, and then once you leave, they leave.
They're kind of neat. in
They
their own
are.
way.
They are in
really
their
are.
own
People
way.
get really spastic about them, but they're really kind of
They
neat.
won't bother you. You know, it's the same thing with a skunk. If you go upon a skunk
Oh.
very slowly, if you say, for instance, you saw it got caught in a barrel, if you tip the barrel over and just move away very slowly, they're not going to
They're not
spray
gonna
you.
bother you.
They're not going. They're more afraid, and that's why, unfortunately, they get hit more times than none because they can only see. They have very, very bad eyesight, so they can only see about 3 feet in front of them. So as a
Oh,
car is
but it's that
approaching,
little-
it's too late. They're just right there, you know. One night I was coming home and I saw a family of skunks crossing Camlin Street. So it was a mom with her
Yeah.
little babies, so it's nice.
They are pretty
Everybody
animals.
has
They're
a
cute
purpose.
as heck.
They are. They all have a purpose, and some people don't agree with me, and
Well,
some
I think they're crazy, because we used to have them play with the kittens. The kittens used to play with the skunks.
Wow.
Till the mother got tired of it and got the skunks out of the way.
Yeah, and then again, that's, you know, unfortunately, because skunks are your number one carnivore of rabies, you have to be a little bit cautious,
Yeah.
because God forbid if a skunk does bite you and you don't catch the skunk, there's a high risk that
There's
you
a
could,
very high
you know,
risk.
you could come down with the
I actually
virus.
think people have them as pets, and there's something.
They do, and they
Control them.
yes, they descent them, so they do. I had a rehabber that had a couple as pets, and, you know, to each their own.
Well, you know,
Like a cat.
just that if the man comes to do the service, the barrel and make sure the pets are out of the way, because
Their
they're
own,
go
you know.
crazy.
As long as they're taking care of them, and, you know, if you have some pets that you know you need a permit for, just make sure you do the right thing, because sooner or later, someone's gonna find out, it's going to get
Complain.
confiscated, and then you're without a pet.
Yeah.
If you can have it, do the right things. If you're not supposed to have it, then don't get it.
Right.
Because sooner or later, something will happen, it will be taken from you, it will escape, somebody will know about it, somebody
Right.
will call the authorities, and in the end, you will be paying heavy fines, and for what? You know, if you're in doubt, just ask.
Right.
That's what we're here for, you know, that's all that we're here for. We're not here to harass you, you know, we just want to do the right things. You know, the purpose of the rabies vaccine is so that if your animal does get out and gets a wound of unknown origin, if an animal is vaccinated, it's a 45-day quarantine versus if it's not, it's 4 months. So if you have a cat that's used to being outside and now you have to quarantine indoors for 4 months, let me tell you, more times than none, the resident has been very, very, like,
See.
how to wait for the 4 months to be over with.
I like cats, but I like them inside or outside. I don't like them mix up.
Right, right. And
I think
it's
cats are very smart. You know, I've always said if you get lost in the woods, the dog will say stay with you, but the cat will say the hell with you. I know how to wait.
Well, they're very
leave you and go
independent.
home.
Yeah,
That's
especially
it.
the males.
You know,
They're very
Yeah.
independent.
they're very independent,
Yeah.
and they can return to the wild like that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
they're very social, but they're very independent.
That's right.
And if for some reason, if they've been with somebody for quite a while, and that's the only person that they've been with, it's very hard to try to get them social again and get them rehomed. And we just basically went through that too. I had 7 that at first, when they first came into the shelter, we didn't think we were going to be able to rehome them and rehab them. Right now, it looks like 3 out of the 7 look like they're going to be able to be
To
rehomed.
do it.
Yeah, but again, they've had socialization, they have people handling them, feeding them, changing the litter box, so they're getting used to it. When they've just had one owner, and all of a sudden that person falls ill or passes
Take
away,
that, that's right.
then they get skittish and they go under couches, and it's hard to get them, and at that point it's, you know, so we have to make the decision, you know, what's best for the animal, or you know, what can we do?
Yeah.
Because my first and foremost would be, number 1, to rehome them, number 2, see if we can get them out to a farm. As long
Yeah.
as the person is willing to put in the time, because you're the one that's going to be responsible, and
Right.
going out there and feeding them and changing the litter box, and hopefully they're going to stay in the cage. And hopefully after that time period, they will
Stay.
stay in the area after. I mean, some of them, They have that will
Yeah.
to run, and there's
Right.
nothing you can
They
do
just-
about
you
it.
know.
But as long as they're spayed and neutered, we don't have to worry about reproduction.
The other thing too, I know people who want cats or want a young cat. If you're in your 70s or something and you want a kitty, there are older cats
There
that make great companions for a lot of older.
There are,
People.
and
Yeah, but
there's
they
a
have to be-
program, it's a Seniors for Seniors, so
Yeah.
they have the cats that can be placed with older people,
Yeah.
because a young cat has so much energy,
Yeah.
so much energy, and
Yeah, but not being brought up with the person, I don't think they adapt. They'll let them.
some of them do. It depends on the personality of the cat.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're very independent.
Mm.
Some of them will love to sit on your lap all day long. Others will just come and eat the food, and you won't see them all day, or
Yeah.
you know. You can't change that. You can try, but you
Yeah.
can't.
They
And
all have their own personality.
they all have their own
Mm.
personality,
They do.
and then when you try to,
Force
you
them,
know,
yeah.
force them, that's when they're going to scratch you. You know, the ACO in Rochester, her mom had a cat since it was a kitten, and the only person that cat liked was the mother.
The
That was
mother.
it. Was not
Yeah,
social
they-
with anyone else.
They're usually attached to one person.
Yeah, and but yet you have some other animals that will go with anyone.
Go with it,
You know,
like a
and-
dog. Well,
Right,
dogs
exactly.
can do, but I think they're more human. They're more happy with humans than kitties are.
Kitties are very independent.
Yeah,
They
that's it.
You know,
You know.
that's just it. They look at you like
Yeah.
they don't need you.
You know, I don't need them. Yeah,
You
but
know,
Attitude.
if they're in the mood for you, then
Yeah.
they'll come and
I
socialize.
say, I
with
can
you.
take care of the songbirds, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's they're hunters, natural
That's
hunters,
what
and
they
I
do.
know that people
Yeah.
Talking about natural hunting, are bobcats coming down in this area?
there have been sightings, so it wouldn't surprise me. They cover quite an area, and
Would they breed with the domestic cat? Or?
No.
no. And the thing is, I've had people swear up and down that they've seen a bobcat. At the time, one person has said that he saw one. He didn't have his phone with him. But you know, looking at the prints, I've called environmental. You know, just as though we've also had sightings of bears down here too. So the climate is changing. So you know, things are changing, and
Yeah, we had one a couple of years ago. We had a beehive in Acushnet.
yes,
Mm.
yes. There was, I believe there were 2 or 3 of them that were down here, because at the same time that we had one on Mendel Road, Mattapoisett had called in that there was one in Mattapoisett.
Mm.
So they are down here.
They come after the deer.
They do show up. And they'll go after your beehives. They'll go after whatever
They
they
are,
possibly can,
yeah.
whatever food
Mm.
is left outside. So again, you have to err with caution if you're going to have to take the responsibility that comes out along with it, because the squirrels are going to get into the bird feeders. As much as you try to, you know, stop them from doing it,
Yeah.
they get in. So if you're going to
Yeah,
feed
let
the
me-
birds, you're
Good
going
job.
you're going to have, you know,
They're
you're going
pretty
to have
smart.
rodents.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very frustrating, especially when it's this time of year, and mice are trying to find the smallest little hole in your
Right.
foundation for shelter. But you know, it's the farm. It's it's
And chipmunks.
a lot of chipmunks
A
this
lot
year.
of chipmunks. You got a lot of chipmunks?
Yes. I
My
always
God.
A lot of chipmunks this year.
Yeah, I noticed
See,
that.
my chestnut tree does about 30 to 40 pounds of chestnuts.
Yeah.
One year I went to Portugal. When I came back, there were like 5 squirrels. I had no chestnuts that year.
I believe it.
Yeah.
A lot of squirrels this year. I've
Mm.
seen a lot of squirrels, a lot of chipmunks, and everything's changing, and they know it.
That's right. And there's no sense of fighting it. You have to adapt yourself to it.
And,
try to
you know, the other thing that I would like to get out there is it's against the law to trap and relocate. And they just recently passed a law that it's even against the law to trap and drown.
Mhm.
So if you have a problem, you need to call a pack permit officer. And yes, unfortunately, it's going to cost you money. But if you're caught transporting wildlife and releasing it somewhere, there are hefty fines from the environmental police. So just be very cautious of that. Try to put up barriers so that they're not intrusive on your property.
Mm.
But we keep building building and
Yeah,
building,
right.
and all the
Yeah,
trees
good.
are coming down, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Mm.
About a month ago, I received a phone call from the director at the library that she had some patrons that were there, and I don't know if either one of you noticed how they plowed down that field near the library.
Yeah, they've been
Outside,
on
yes,
the old whites,
they
that's
plowed it
white
down.
thing.
And so a lot of the patrons saw coyotes in the middle of the day, in the middle of the field, and I said, because they're confused.
Yeah,
For all these years, they've had these dens that were in those thickets.
that's right.
And now they woke up and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's right down to the ground. So they're not going to harm you. They're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Mm.
But I understand that it's scary, but you know, I tell people too.
They're not afraid of the animals.
No,
No.
they have to go out and that's why I tell
They're
people if you have cats, you know, be aware if they're an older cat, if they're not a fast cat, if they're hungry, they're going to get them. Right now, this year, they had plenty of food with either roadkill or if they got the squirrels or whatever
Chipmunks.
else. Yeah, whatever else is out there.
Yeah.
But if something is going to be in front of them, they're going to. It's like a free meal.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the chance of getting a free lobster or a hamburger, where are you going to go every day at
Yeah.
5 o'clock? You're going to go for the free lobster.
That's right.
And that's what they do. They see something, and so, you know, they know what they're doing. And again, it's free rodent control.
Right.
They're not going
It's a
to
circle
bother
of
you.
life.
You
That's
know,
it,
but
yeah.
the thing is, if you see them out during the day, like when the foxes have their babies
Yeah.
early in the spring, a lot of people are concerned about the kits. That's what baby foxes are called. And they're just frolicking. Mom is teaching them how to hunt, how to
Right.
get out and behave, and how to go out by themselves. She's teaching them what she knows.
That's right.
And people automatically think that if you see a coyote out during the day, or a skunk out during the day, or a fox out, it automatically has rabies. It doesn't.
Yeah, oh my
So
God.
unless it's showing signs and acting aggressive, just let it be.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But if you do have something that it wants, if you have food on if you're cooking on your grill, and you don't clean your grill, so the drippings are there, they're going to smell that. And they're going to come, they're going to try again to get the free food.
Right.
Again, if you have free lobster every night at 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
or a free hamburger, you're going to go for lobster. It's just, you know, being aware of your surroundings and, you know, Google it. You can either go on the town's website, go on to animal control and you can Google anything about animals, or you can just Google it right on the web and just see what their habitats are and see what's normal behavior and what's not normal. And, you know, and again, by all means, give me a call. I will, you know, help you out in whichever way I can. And just, you know, I mean, again, we are building and building and
And
building.
building and building.
And
We're pushing them
they're
and
pushing
pushing
them up.
them
They
and
have
pushing them.
nowhere to go.
That's right.
So you're seeing them, you know,
They're
The
gonna
climate's
become
changing too,
domesticated.
because the climate's warmer.
the climate is changing, and so you're seeing them out more often. And not that they're going to harm you. Again, if you make loud noises with pans, or if you have a sprinkler, you know, a
Yeah.
hose, or I think pans are the best thing, or if you have a foghorn, but let your neighbors know that you're doing that. Just don't do it at midnight or anything. And then just, you know, just try to live with them. But I mean, obviously, if they're acting aggressive,
Then you
or
got
if they
trouble.
get into, if you have a dog kennel or in your, say, in your barn, and they're doing something, then yeah, that's
Yeah.
a problem. But other than that, if they're just passing through, you know, and that's why I tell people, and that's another reason that we have, you know, all the cities and towns have inspectors, because if you're building a cage for your chickens, I can give you ideas of how to keep the skunks out, how to keep the woodchucks out, how to keep the other one is a lot of people have been seeing.
Bunnies.
No, not bunnies,
They don't want the chickens.
the fisher cats. A
Well,
lot of
oh,
people
yeah.
claim that they are
Fish-
seeing
oh, I
fisher
know
cats.
the bunny goes in my garden, that's what it was.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, again, you know,
Fisher cats,
give us a
yeah.
call, Google it, how to keep, you know, rodents out of your gardens. They've got tremendous ideas instead of having to kill them. We all have to live together. We're all put on this planet. Just let's learn to live together, you know? But I mean, if there's a problem and something is going after your animals that you're paying good money for to feed and raise, then yes, I mean, you have to do what you need to do, but you just have to know what the laws are.
And,
That's the whole thing, and like I said, you can just go right on to, you can Google it on your website, and, you know, it's there.
How about fisher cats, are they going down? I haven't seen any.
No, I've been
seen
getting a
any
lot of
over there?
calls.
There's a lot.
Is there?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of calls
They
about
must
that.
have big litter.
I think they only have, don't quote me on it, but I don't want to say, maybe 1 to 3, you
That's
know,
it?
but, yeah, but the problem is, they're just making a comeback. They
Yeah.
have
And it's
gone.
mild winter, so.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and they know where to go. I mean, they know how to keep warm. It's just, again, it's like the feral cat. They know how to keep warm all
Mm.
winter. They know where to go.
Well, their
It's
dinner is a
instinct.
cat
It's-
too, I think.
it's
cats love
instinctive.
cats.
Yeah.
Along with squirrels.
They will get a hold. But again, they are very elusive. Most people will
You
not
don't
see
see
them.
them.
You don't
No.
see them. But if you Google
had
the
trouble
sound
with
that they make,
You can hear
it, it goes right up your
Mm.
spine. The sound that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, them and the coyotes will do it too. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you can tell when they're going in for the kill.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know, but again, they're all here for a purpose.
Yep.
Are we overpopulated right now with deer? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know,
So,
they need to up those permits so that, you know, we can bring the population down so that they can all be healthy. You know, unfortunately, a lot of deer, Rochester has had a lot all summer. She had a
Summer?
great, yeah, she had.
Every day when I go by Rochester, never fails.
really?
There's a huge family down there,
Yeah.
huge family.
And people have to, you know, once you become complacent and think that it's not going to happen to you, especially this time of year, you're wrong.
Right.
So you're better off to just drive carefully, drive slow, just keep, you know, be very observant of your surroundings and just hopefully, you know, that they don't run into
Because if
you.
there's one, there's usually two.
Right.
Usually they walk, if they're not running, you're not in a problem, because you can actually see them by the
Right.
time they cross.
But if they're
But
dotting out, that's
Mm.
when there's a problem. And usually it's right when you're on top of them and
Right.
God forbid, you know, I mean, the main thing is that you don't get hurt, you know?
They have
So-
runs too. I know there's one
Especially
down
now
on
that
Main
the season
Street.
already
Between,
open.
actually, it's near JJ. There's a run that goes.
Right, because there's a brook across the street, right? Is that, yeah.
Mm, that's one of their runs.
And now the open season, isn't it?
No,
for the
I don't
boat?
think hunting season.
But-
is,
Yeah, for
is
the
it?
boat, I think.
There-
Is it
yeah,
both?
yeah, yeah. And again, you can go on the website and you can see, you know, just go on.
So that put more pressure on them, so now they.
Well, they
want to
know.
go.
They know that you're in the woods, so they're being scared out of the woods, and that's what's happening, you know? And then, so right now, there's a lot more females available, and the males are, you know, they're out there
Mm.
in season, so, yeah, exactly. And, you know, so they're running across the street,
Yeah.
and that's when, and like you just said, if you see
Right,
one,
you
most
see-
likely
see-
there are other ones.
Mm.
In the spring, when you know, when you see the does and, you know, the newborns and
Yeah.
everything, you know, a lot of times mom, again, leaves for the day. She goes, does her thing to get her food, and the
Mm.
babies stay. She puts them in a spot, and they basically just stay there. And mostly it's in high grass or places where they're pretty elusive. You can't
Mm.
see them. But again, if something scares them out, there's a chance that they're going to get hurt or,
Mm.
you know, injured or eaten by something else. But mom's usually pretty intuitive, and she knows what's going on. But again, you know, you're teaching them, and you know, and people again get nervous when they see, oh my goodness, there's been.
There goes Bambi.
Well, either that or like the baby rabbits when they see the babies.
Mm.
And I tell people, you know, like you can get a string and you can do a tic-tac-toe, and if you see that it hasn't been disturbed, then yes, something happened to mom.
Mm.
And, you know, then, you know, but a lot of times rabbits are very, very, very difficult to rehab.
Oh.
Very difficult, and they shock out very easily.
Mm.
1 minute they can be doing fine, and 15 minutes later, something happened to them, and unfortunately they pass. So again, it's better to leave wildlife alone. They have a better chance of survival rather than humans intervening and trying to help them. They have an instinct. But again, there are ways to find out if mom is gone, but most mothers will leave the den during the day to get feed, because obviously it's a lot easier to look for food during the day than it is at night, and then they'll come back. So they'll be gone from dawn until dusk, and then they'll come back. But a lot of people don't understand that, and then by the time they call me, they've already taken it from the area that it was in, and I really don't remember where I got it from. So now again, the chance of
Right,
survival,
yeah.
unless we know where mom is, you know, so just leave it alone.
Mm.
You know, a lot of times if a bird or baby birds fall out of, the little fledglings fall out of the nest, Mom will know where they are.
Yeah.
You'll hear her, especially blue jays. You will
Oh.
hear them, and they will dive bomb you.
Mm.
Just leave them alone and let Mom do her job.
Right.
You know, she's out looking for the worms or whatever it is, and so be it. You know, so.
Well, you got any more questions for Rebecca?
No, I'm all set.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Well, thank you. And
Well, no, this is actually one of the best AgCom meetings we've had in quite a while.
Oh, wow.
We've been interviewing our Rebecca here, our town
No, I appreciate
animal
it.
inspector. Who's, what's the number again people can call?
508-998-0200,
Yeah.
extension 4310. And, you know, if it's an emergency and they need to reach me right away, they can always contact the police department at the regular business line, 508-998-0240, because they have a direct line to me, to my cell phone, and they will call me. And, you know, if it's a type of an emergency. But just, you know, like I said, just give us a call, let us know what's going on. If you see something, say something. Don't wait. Don't wait and think that, you know, an incident is going to get better or a situation is going to get better. Give us a call, and we can go out there and we can check it out before it's too late.
There you go.
And, you know, and that's what we're here for. And I think that people have gotten a lot better, and they realize
I think they
that.
have. I think
You know,
people have become
I mean, when I
more-
first started this job, it was like pulling teeth to try to go
How
on
many years
someone's
have you been
property.
at it?
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
See that? Not every town has an animal inspector. She knows every goat, horse, cow.
No, I don't know every goat.
You know, but
But it helps. I mean,
But
like
she
tonight.
works with the farmer. She doesn't beat on them.
No,
She
but
works
this
with
husky
them.
that
And
was
that's
loose
important.
tonight, I've
Yeah.
never seen him before. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, he doesn't look familiar to me. I have my frequent flyers,
Yeah.
and I have, you know, but this one I didn't know, and sure enough, they just moved here 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, she got confused when there were some people out by the town hall earlier, and she went up there and said, did you see a husky? And they said, no, but Rebecca has it. And she's, who's Rebecca? So she came up, and I was still in the office, so, because I was thinking I was probably going to either bring him down here with me tonight, or he was going to sit in my office until I got back. But she came, so I just hope she found her other dog. So if anybody sees a little dog, gray, black,
There
and
you
white,
go.
looks like a husky, but it's not a husky.
Not a husky.
Please call the police station. Very friendly. It's only 6 months old, so.
You should, because Dartmouth, I've noticed, because I'm attached to Dartmouth Animal Control Officer, and she actually puts it on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. We have a Facebook page. Usually after I post it, like 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
I-
because somebody actually,
Yeah, so, yeah, no, we do have that, and I don't, just to let the public know, I do not respond to Facebook requests. So
Right.
if you need me, leave me a message, call the police department. If it's an emergency, call the regular business line. But I just don't have the time to constantly stay up with social media. I look at all things Acushnet. I have seen things on all things Acushnet, and I will, you know, if it's something, there was something this past summer that someone had a fox that was stuck in a hockey net, and they didn't know what to do. Luckily, I happened to just be looking at it, but I wasn't working, and I contacted my assistant, which is Rochester Animal Control, and she came out, because I don't want you as a resident trying to handle that, because they get scared. They know that you're trying to help them, but if they bite you, then there's a problem. We are trained on how to, take them out of the net and work with them. So just please reach out to us. And then what happened with this particular instance, she got caught in the net, and she still had, the rabbit was deceased, but she did. So again, she's protecting what she caught.
Yeah.
She's growling, she's nervous, she's confined. So if you don't know what you're doing, it could
you
be
can
worse. So just, give us a call. And in that instance, like I said, I did see that. And I know enough people that if they see something, they'll call me and let me know, hey, this is happening at this address. So we were able to take care of it. It was successful. She was able
keep
to.
the rabbit?
She did. She ran off with the rabbit. Yes, she did. She did. She had a little. She had a little piece of the netting attached to her, but it wasn't anything that was detrimental. But again, if we get bit, that's part of the job. It's part of the course. but I don't want to see someone get hurt. So rather than try to jump in and try to do something, you know, call me. If it's not something that I can handle, I will tell you where you need to go, who you need to contact, and hopefully we can resolve the matter. You know, a lot of people in the summertime, they get bats in their house. You know, I mean, normally if you open the door, they're going to leave.
No, they
Sometimes if
don't.
it's an elderly person, you know, I will go there and I will assist. But if you leave the door open or if you leave the window open, they will exit. But I tell them, if the back end of the house, there's a problem, you need to have your eaves checked. That's a professional. You need to call someone that handles that. We
Right.
don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't, you know, I don't climb on roofs to try to get, you know what I'm saying? I mean, now there's a liability at that point. So
You're a foot on the ground inspector.
you just have to be careful. I mean,
You do.
and like I said, you know, the turkeys, that's another thing that have real.
Wild
Right.
turkeys?
The turkeys, they have been everywhere. There are some that are injured. You made the comment last night
Yeah.
when you called me. We had one at the DPW this weekend, right on Middle Road, that was injured and unfortunately had to be put down.
Yeah.
But as a whole, if a turkey has an injury, but it doesn't look like it's life-threatening, we tell them to just, you know,
Leave it alone.
let it be. If it's with the flock and the flock didn't disown it,
Yeah.
let it do its thing. It's going to be fine. If this was out on a pasture that was 25 acres, you would probably never see it if it
Never
was
see
out
it.
on wild pasture somewhere. So you have to leave it alone. I get that people get concerned, but, you know, in other parts of the country, if there is a herd of cows going down the street, that's normal.
Yeah.
I get that people get concerned if they see some cows, and you know, and obviously you can get hurt if you have a
A lot of
2,500
damage,
pound.
depending.
Absolutely. So I mean, I so of course 911 and by all means, you know, we need
Yeah.
to get out there and make sure that we corral it and get it back to its proper
Right.
owner, so he or she doesn't get hurt, and neither does the motorist or what have you. So again, if you see something, say something. Don't feel that, you know, I don't want to say something. I don't
Right.
want retaliation. There's not going to be retaliation.
No,
The
just-
only time that they, you know, you just have to say something because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
So if I'm not aware of a situation that's
You
going
can't
on,
have
if
it.
you
You
think
can't do
something
anything
isn't
about it.
right, just say something. Give me
Yeah.
a call and, you know, we'll go out there and we'll handle it and we'll try to address it the best way that we can so that everybody is taken care of.
Yeah.
So,
Very good. There we are. We all learned something tonight. I
Okay.
thank you for stopping
you're
by.
more than welcome.
Very informative, I think. Bring us up to speed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if you would like me to come back and
Yes,
revisit,
absolutely. I think the spring would be a good time.
absolutely,
I'm sure
when all the
something will
babies
happen
are
in the
being
spring.
born and
What with the chicks?
the chicks and anything that anything that you're gonna hold at the Grange, just
Right.
let me know.
Well, they're gonna have some stuff at the tractor meeting, but, yeah, we're gonna have a bee thing in February. I got in touch with, Renee, we're all set. We'll be putting out our publicity for this February.
That would be
We're gonna have it at the
interesting.
Grange, Yeah,
Now, how many beekeepers are you going to have there?
just as many as they want. It's
Yeah.
open to anyone.
That'll be, do you already have some people that have committed, or?
Well, I'll roast them out, because usually in February, they looking for something to keep them occupied.
Okay, and
So
they
we'll
say,
use the Grange too, which is good, it's an agricultural thing.
absolutely.
The Grange is always very hospitable, and it's $50 for, I think it's 3 hours, 4 hours.
Oh,
And it's heated, the
right.
Grange, Acushnet
Oh,
Grange is
that's nice.
very accessible.
Right,
And,
and, you know, it's
they have
great
a
that
good
people-
dog training thing over there.
They do, they have the,
Beside.
what is it, which one, what's the name of them,
Wampanoag, is it?
it's the Wampanoag, yes,
Wampanoag,
the
yeah.
Wampanoag. Yep, and, again, you know, anything that will promote and educate, I'm
Educate
down
kids,
for
that's
it.
all you can.
Absolutely,
Give
and like
them
people don't
something
realize
besides.
how local honey is
Yeah.
so good for you if you have allergies,
That's right.
and you can use it for
Especially with
so
the
much.
winter.
Yeah.
You can use it like on wounds also, and it helps,
That's
you
right,
know,
people
so.
forget.
All of the old
You know, and sap
remedies.
too, pine sap's good for wounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All the old remedies that people, you know,
Yeah.
instead of going and getting antibiotics.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
Neosporin,
Yeah.
it solves everything.
But
And
I
my-
remember one of my friends had a dog that was injured really badly, and one of the vets, that was the dressing that they put on the dog, rather than, and it did a remarkable,
Oh, yeah.
remarkable recovery. So it's, you know, I mean, it's all natural.
It's all
You know, the
natural.
Bees are just, you
Yep.
know, they're there to help
Before
you.
you go into some of these opioids, let's say, go natural.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
about the best
But
advice.
a lot of
you
people
can-
don't think that way. They get concerned, you know. And, you
Take a
know.
pill, it's going to go away.
Right.
It doesn't, it just beats on
Exactly.
something else.
Exactly. But like I said, if you have any questions,
Yeah.
any concerns, I hope a lot of viewers are watching
Well, I
tonight.
enjoyed this very much. It's
Yes.
very,
Well, I'm
very
glad that you
informative.
invited
It was
me.
nice of
Thank
you
you.
to come by.
I'm starting to get paranoid. This is the second time I've been here.
Oh, don't worry. Actually, well, I think they lost out, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
But not to worry. I think next meeting, I think we'll do in January. How's that? The third week in January, because our meetings now fall on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Unless
I
we
think
get
that's
one
what
in
we did.
before
Huh?
Thanksgiving. Unless we get one in before Thanksgiving and then in January.
No, I don't think so. I think that's what we did the last year. You look it up. I think we did. Let's see what we
Okay.
did last year. Because Scott was busy with his cranberries.
But that's October.
No, he was busy with November. He takes them to Boston and sells them. And JJ, God knows what he's up to. But,
Then we have Bob.
yeah, he's busy with his son. But, yeah, let's look it up.
Yeah,
Because I think you've got it. And I'll look it up too, because I should have it.
I have all the minutes.
Well, we'll adjourn this, and again, thank you very much.
you are very welcome.
It was
Thank you for
very
having me.
informative, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yes.
Good, I'm
You
glad.
know,
We want to present the trophy that we got on the Apple Peach Festival.
oh yes, look at our Apple Peach Festival show.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope
We've
that
all,
there have been a
yes,
lot
I'd like
more
to
viewers
thank
that are-
everyone that, especially Roseland, all the farms that went into decorating our float, of which, of course, we won.
Yes,
But I
you
mean-
did a beautiful job.
But Roseland put everything in. Did we send them a thank you card?
Not yet. That has to be approved.
Okay, I'll approve this.
No, it's beautiful. You guys
Yeah.
worked very hard. And
Yeah,
I
we
hope
did.
people
We-
appreciate and
you know,
recognize
since
you.
Scott,
Knowing that
JJ,
we have
we all
that
get together
culture.
and did it.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. I saw pictures of the float and it was great. But I just hope people appreciate the Agricultural Commission
Yeah,
and to know that it's a problem
That's
between
right.
a farmer and a resident.
That's right.
They
That
don't
they
wanna-
can come here and talk to you about it
Mhm.
instead of, again, thinking that authority is going to come down and all we're going to do is penalize them.
No.
You are here
No.
for your knowledge, you know, you brought forth and you see a lot of the rules and regulations with the farmers that they're trying to bring before the house, which are great. And then it comes down to the inspectors, which gives us a handle on it. And we're just here to just make everybody, you know,
Yeah.
just kind of coincide.
and
with
they
each other.
do try to work it out too, because I know one of the big local corn growers, everybody was having troubles with me, saying, oh my God, they spray the corn, which of course they have to. And of course then he decided, well, he would send them out at dusk. Well, honeybees, bumblebees are workers, they don't have a union. But the honeybees have a union. They go in the evening. So they spray after the honeybees went in.
After they went.
So they made that adjustment. So, I mean, it's quite a big adjustment. I mean, the guy has to go out in the midst of the night, although it's kind of cool, so he can't
Right.
enjoy doing it. But I mean, if you talk to him about it, you can't, you know, farmers gotta live too, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everybody's gotta just give and take and
Circle
it'll
of
work
life,
out.
you know?
That's what I say all
Yeah.
the time, circle of life.
That's it.
So, but again, thank you so much for
Oh,
having me.
my
I hope you guys
pleasure,
have
our
a
pleasure.
Great night
Yeah,
and a
me
great
too.
weekend.
And
And I
we'll
will be
adjourn at
seeing-
8:05.
I will be seeing